Beautiful. All right. We are live here, guys, and I am here with a great friend, mentor of mine, Bridget. She is an author. She is a powerful female business owner. She's a social media influencer. She's a book writer. She's a fitness coach, and she's actually my personal social media coach as well. Bridget, how are you doing, love?
Well, thank you so much. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Larry?
I am doing so awesome.
Thanks
So
for that
the reason that I wanted to kind of bring you on here today is one, because I think that you have a ton of content and people just can get really lost, especially when we talk about social media, what to do, how to do it, etc. So where I wanted your help was like, okay, so there's all these things that we should be doing, but how do you eat an elephant, right? It's one bite at a time. And so today I want to break down kind of a three-pronged approach. If I'm a real estate business owner, lender, actually, it doesn't really have to be any particular field. Like, let's talk about social media. What is the number one thing from you being running a social media company, branding some very influential people across the world? What is the number one thing that people have to adapt to and start using today when it comes to social media?
Yeah, absolutely. My opinion on this, and I think many experts in the industry would agree with me, but I really feel that everything is trending in the direction of video. And I would say that the evolution started with a lot of text and kind of where Twitter came from. So it started with text and then it kind of evolved into you have to have pictures, which is where Instagram came in. But now you're seeing a lot more video platforms like Twitch, TikTok, of course, YouTube's always been around. Yeah. But I really feel like if you want to make a statement, you want to set yourself apart in this industry, especially in the world of real estate where it is very populated, you're really going to want to spend time on video.
Okay. And so when you say that, I know that scares the hell out of so many people, like, because they'll sit here and they'll be like, oh, that I looked ugly. Oh, I have a double chin, right? Like, how do people get started with doing video?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I've worked with other realtors in the past who are like, they're getting started to get started, and so they start with like, well, I need a drone, or I need a tripod, I need this, I need that, and I need this. I'm like, you guys, you gotta just start with what you have, because there's usually going to be more reasons behind why somebody's shy to get on video, and it's usually going to end up being something personal, like they don't like how they look, they don't like their voice, or things like that. It's not really because they need a tripod or a ring light or anything like that. So I honestly, it's like when I first started doing videos, I hated it, and I used to do meal prep videos, and I couldn't stand it because it was just like didn't like the way I talked. I could see all the things I made, but people aren't going to be as critical of you as you are going to be critical of yourself. So you kind of just have to get over the hump. A really good way to do that, and this kind of segues into my next point, is just doing stories. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, there's the story feature, which most of you, if you're on those platforms, you watch stories, but that's a perfect good way to just start out. You get as many takes as you want. You have 15 seconds to kind of just prepare something quick to say. And it doesn't have to be profound. It doesn't have to be descriptive. And that's one of the things I learned is that as I'm making videos, if I mess up in a video, it's okay. Right. Like I either just keep going or I just acknowledge it and be like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, and kind of laugh it off. Whereas other people feel like they need to be like, you know, somebody who's been a TV broadcaster for 15 years and never messes up. So you just have to start. And by starting, you'll gain confidence. People will appreciate it and look up to you for just showing up on video.
Okay, so number one is people have to start using video. A great way, and your second tip is to just kind of take some action, right? Yeah. And stories is a great way to do that because it's quick, it's easy, and it can kind of get them out of their comfort zone. Yeah. Now, it doesn't matter like if your hair's on your left side versus your right side.
You know, I mess with my hair all the time because it's just, and it's versus backwards for me today. But I want to dive in a little bit deeper onto stories. And the reason I love stories so much is because the pictures that you see in the timeline or in somebody's newsfeed are going to be perfectly curated pictures with nice descriptions and everything's really thought out. But stories give you a sneak peek into like the realness of every person behind, even at companies, the realness behind that person's account. So I always use JLo as an example because I happen to love JLo. But if you watch her stories, it's the only place you're going to ever see her with her kids at home, no makeup on. But you get that sneak peek into somebody else's world, which makes you like them. It makes you kind of feel like you can connect with them because they're relatable. So stories, and honestly, we talked about this briefly before we jumped on, is that I spend a lot more time in stories because it's more current, it's fast, it's quick to absorb, and it's more interesting than a perfectly curated post. So I often spend more time in my stories than I do in my timeline. So think about it. If more people are spending their time there, because I can't be the only one, then you want to make sure that you're using your stories and taking advantage of that visibility.
Yeah.
Instead of just not, I mean, it's a tool there for you to use. And it's a great way to engage. And you're probably familiar with this too. Like people give you a thumbs up and it's a perfect opportunity to be like, hey, how are you doing? Like how's business? Great conversation setting.
Now, so video, like I think you insinuated this, but I just want to be clear to people that may be watching it. Video, stories, etc. Everything is kind of scored when you were talking about social media. Do these help your algorithms? Do these kind of climb you to the top of that food chain?
Yeah, I'm always listening to updates on algorithms because I swear they're always changing. And for whatever reason on Facebook, my videos are not doing as well as they are on Instagram. And I'm playing with the formatting and trying to see if it's something that I'm doing wrong or differently, or if each platform likes their videos in a certain way. But on Instagram, especially because they're coming out with more new things at this point than Facebook is. But using Instagram as an example, whenever they come out with a new thing, like with stay-at-home orders, of course, on the stories, they have the sticker stay at home. So whenever you use that stickers, you got to go everywhere and everybody saw that. So whenever you do use anything new that comes out, they're going to favor that because they're pushing that item. So it definitely helps with the algorithms.
Okay. And so I would also assume like IGTV, right? Like there's a big push for IGTV. So you can get a lot of free exposure and free content out there when you kind of push the things that they're looking to do, which is awesome. Beautiful. Now let's get into the third piece that we talked about here for a quick minute is how often should somebody be doing this, right? Because you can get stuck in this black hole and end up, like trolling through Facebook for an hour and be like, damn, I haven't done anything for this amount of time. Like, how should people kind of manage that in their day?
Honestly, for the way I manage it, and I have, of course, multiple accounts that I'm going through, but how I tell people to do it is like, stop being overwhelmed by how big of a task it sounds. Like sometimes when I sit down to knock a post out, it takes me a while. Like I want to put a long thought into it. Yeah. And then other times I just crank it out with like either a silly caption. Not everything has to be a mile long, but so I would say stop overthinking it. And honestly, everyone says time blocking, but it's true. It's much easier to spend 30 minutes on a Monday doing your content than it is to every day trying to think of something. Or whatever day you feel creative, whatever day you're like most energized in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever it is, like find that time whenever you're feeling creative and knock it out in 30 minutes. Do 3 posts a week if that's all you can handle. Of course, videos are going to take a little bit more time and effort, but maybe just start with 1 video a week or 1 every 2 weeks and just stop making it such a big deal and just get stuff out there.
All right. And then if they need some help, obviously, like I needed some help, right? There wasn't enough time in the day. So I was like, all right, who's the best out there? Who gives me the biggest bang for my buck? I was like, oh, it's Bridget, right? Like, I mean, she has tens of thousands of followers, right? Like she manages other people. And so, obviously there's always opportunity for more people to reach out to you for help, to come to you and look at the options that are available if they don't want to go through the learning process. So what would be the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a business account, but I'm most active on my personal one, which is right here, Bridget Treese Official.
Okay.
You can find me at Bridget Treese on Facebook, Bridget Treese Romo on LinkedIn, basically all the platforms, which is also a tip. Be consistent across all the platforms, just like Larry is, and you can find me there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today. Greatly appreciate it. So top 3 takeaways here, guys, is make sure that we're using video. A great way to do that is by our number 2 tip, which is be more consistent on our stories, and then build a social media plan of when you are going to be going out and logging in. Does that sum it up?
That sums it up. You got it.
Beautiful, guys. If you guys have any questions, reach out to Bridget directly. Reach out to me. I'm happy to pass along her contact information. Hopefully this helps you and it gives you something to change so that you get more traction here. And we will talk to you soon.